First of all, thank you everybody for coming out. Much appreciated. All right, so my name is Adam Koralik. I'm hoping at least like two of you know who I am from videos. I do a lot of stuff, obviously talking about retro video games, which would make sense, that's why I'm here. And yeah, I've been doing YouTube stuff for about 9 years across 4 different channels. And there's really no show component to this. I'm just gonna answer your questions and we'll just kind of see until you get bored and leave. And at the end, I have some prizes to give away for very intense trivia, so wait up for that. So hands up, I will just go into a Q&A if anybody's got anything. Oh, I was gonna say, thank you, that was fun. What's up?
Besides Biker Mice from Mars, is there any games you're looking to get at the con?
Was I looking for Biker Mice from Mars?
2 years ago, you were with me, we were looking at games, we were looking at Biker Mice from Mars and the PS.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. I think I found that in Canada somewhere. No, I kind of thought about that myself today, and the only thing I was kind of looking at is like, I want some 32X stuff. I don't know where that bug suddenly came from, but that's about it. I really didn't have much of a chance to look at the floor because we got here kind of late. But yeah, I think if I could knock off a couple 32X games, because I realized I was like mostly done with that set by accident, so it'd be nice to get a couple of those.
Yeah, you probably got it from Sean Long.
What, Sean? He gives everybody diseases, yeah. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I was looking through my set the other day, and there's like a really hard baseball game to get on there. I think it's World Series Baseball, and I was like, oh, I'm never going to find that. Then I realized I had it. The one I don't have is the common one, the RBI, so I need to find that. Anybody? Questions? Go for it. Oh, yes, Shenmue, I've heard of it. The whale game. It's about a whale simulator. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Shenmue is, for those who don't know, is my favorite video game of all time, and for years I've been championing its return. Sega contacted me a while back, and they're like, they told me like straight up, like, we're gonna be re-releasing it, and we'd love to have you involved and all this stuff. So I've been doing a whole lot of stuff with them, and it's been really surreal because, I mean, yeah, as you point out, I've been hanging out with some of the voice actors and stuff. I assume you're talking about that video I did at E3? Okay, funny side story to that, never leaves this room except for when it goes up on the internet. That video, really, Sega had nothing to do with. Corey's a buddy of mine, I've known him for years. We used to do like videos to promote like Shenmue 3 and all this stuff. So I contacted him and I was like, yeah, do you want to come out to E3 and make this video with me? And I asked Sega, because now I have a working relationship with them, and I was like, can you guys get Corey a badge? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, he's your dude. And they're like, well, we can't make it look official. So I contacted a buddy who works at 2K, and he's like, I got you. So he just gave me some badges. And then that morning, literally the morning of the convention, we were going to go over there, and Lisa Wilkerson, who voiced various characters in Shenmue 2, she just messages me out of nowhere. She's like, can I come? And I was like, sure. I messaged a guy at 2K, he hooks me up with another badge, come on in. So then we just kind of did the video like haphazard. Sega said it was okay to be there as long as we didn't acknowledge that they said it was okay. Sorry. But yeah, no, it was a fun video to make, and if you haven't seen it, Metal Jesus actually makes a cameo in it, and so does Kelsey. They were wandering around, and I was like, you guys want to be in this video? We're doing this really weird thing where the actor of the game basically plays the character and just confuses people. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, being involved with that has been really, really weird. For those who don't know, Sega has been having me do a lot of stuff for them. They sent me to Japan for a couple things, and literally yesterday I got back from London for things, so I'm still kind of jet lagged. I apologize for that. But yeah, so we're doing a whole host of Shenmue content. I believe it was you guys who commented and pointed out that their official name for me is Sega's Bay. That's my official credit for Sega, is I'm Sega's Bay. So yeah, I have an ongoing relationship with them. I don't know really how the hell that. First it was like, yeah, we just want you involved with Shenmue because you're such a big fan. And I was like, all right, what else are you guys working on? Are you guys doing like Phantasy Star? What's all? And we can't talk about any of that kind of stuff. 10 minutes later, it's like, oh, dude, you'll never believe the stuff we're working on. They're telling me everything. So I can't talk about it because I signed an NDA. But if you're a Sega fan, it's going to be. They're trying to change. They're trying to change. Yeah, I can't. Phantasy Star is not one of them. I'm sorry, that was just an example. I'm just gonna. See, now you know the PR nightmare that everybody has. It's like anything you say, somehow it's the opposite is confirmed. It's annoying. Yeah, exactly.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not? Sure. Everything is Half-Life 3 confirmed. Next question?
All right, so as somebody who has never played Shenmue,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. You got a new chance. It's coming out.
Well, see, that's my question for you. Do you think for a first-time Shenmue or like that thing, do you think it's better to get the original Dreamcast version or wait for this new re-release? Like, what would be a better first-time experience?
Honestly, having played the re-release very extensively, I would say get the re-release. It's logistically easier, PC, Xbox One, PS4. Plus, they did it so you have both versions. There's an option in-game to play it in what they call Dreamcast mode, or they've called that around the office, but really what it is you can turn off the high-resolution modes and you can turn off the widescreen support, and it literally downgrades, and it's, as someone who messes around with Dreamcast VGA cables, I'm telling you, it's indistinguishable. But if you turn the high-resolution modes on, you're like, there it is. So yeah, I would say do that just for convenience sake. And it's got additional benefits like, better load times and all that kind of stuff.
I asked a Dreamcast guy the same thing online yesterday, and he said the same thing. So
Yeah.
not enough for both.
Yeah, I love the Dreamcast versions, obviously, but like it's 2018. Like logistically speaking, just play it on the modern versions. Oh, of course. Anybody else? Let's see. I finished all the Asian stuff. I got, I have no idea on North America, probably a few hundred. But Europe's the one I was closing in on. So my goal, for those who don't know, is I want to try and get an original Xbox, like complete set. I feel like that console doesn't get nearly enough love, and it really deserves it because it's a really great machine. But the way I collect, I don't just do North America. I try to get all the regional stuff. But with Europe, it's a lot of sports titles and just junk, just horrible, horrible things. And I have almost all of them, and now I'm down to the point where there's just like a couple manuals or something I'm missing. But the last one on my list for that set, very embarrassing, it's all gonna come down to a Hello Kitty game. And I got a text from a dude yesterday, he's like, I bought you a copy, it's coming in from Australia. I was like, all right, so look, spoilers, like that's coming soon. But then I'll be mostly done with Europe at that point, and then it's time to battle for the home front. Yeah. Maybe I'll try and get some down here because conventions are usually a great place to do that. Anyone?
So after your recent trips to Japan in the last year, you brought back stacks of N64 games.
Yeah.
How close are you?
Okay, so this is going to sound ridiculous, but in the last year, I've been to Japan 5 times. And for the record, I don't pay for any of this crap. I don't know how this happens. But it's just like, you want to go? All right, sure, I'll go. So I was like, okay, yeah. But I used the opportunity to try and pick up stuff because it's so much cheaper there. Now, when it comes to Japan, I think it was like 90 N64 exclusives. I think I have like 83 of them because they're worthless over there. The only one that's worth a lot is they had like some date sim. It's like, there's the only date sim on the N64. Now that to us, who cares? But over there, oh my God, the date sim. It's like a $200 game, even there. And that one I don't have. And I don't know if I'm ever, like, come on, why would you do that to yourself? So I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish that. I did finish all the Euro exclusives, but that's easy, there's 7 of them. And most of them are sports titles like Soccer Coach Manager, like 64, stuff that would never, Premier Manager, stuff that would never come out here. But yeah, but again, North American stuff, I haven't even really touched it for the N64.
So you're curious about day job? Do you have one, or is it just, you also mentioned, you have a working relationship with Sega. Are you on like retainer with them?
I wish. No, I'd take their money if they offered it, but no. No. If I had a day job, I'd have been fired a long time ago. Because I work on 4 channels. So there's the one you guys mostly would know me for here. I also work on one called Game Society. I work on a comedy film channel called Blame Society. They used to make beer and board games, Chad Vader, if any of those things ring a bell, I'm in all that stuff. And then Machinima, so I do a lot of stuff through them. But yeah, no, basically just full-time YouTuber, just spread across a whole lot of things.
That's a lot of work in itself.
Yeah. You don't get much sleep. That's where these come into play. Go for it.
With disk deterioration and disk rot,
Yeah.
more of a problem. Do you keep any of your games in humidifiers, or do you have a plan to do that?
No, that's a good question. I try to keep my CD-based content in the dark mostly, and just kind of in a cool environment. I mean, realistically, as long as you do that, you're going to die long before that stuff goes bad, and then I won't care when I'm dead. So, yeah, but no, there's no plan beyond that. Maybe you should. I don't know. We'll see as time goes on how bad that really gets for people. But as it goes, for now, yippee, I'll just play them. I know you've had a question. I saw it. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I promise. Go for it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it anyway. They offered to send me a couple review units to like test them out, not just like for review, but to like actually see if there's bugs in them. I don't know yet if I'm going to be doing that. But for those who don't know, the Retrobit is going to be making wireless Dreamcast, Saturn, and Genesis controllers. At first, I thought, okay, that's like a mold and you use it on a PS4 or something. No, they are for those actual consoles. They are Sega licensed, but I don't know if that actually really means anything. Sega would be the first people to tell you, like, we'll put our name on anything. So that doesn't necessarily mean quality, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd love to actually check those out when they finally come out. What was the other one? Yes, there's this Japanese game called Bomber Hee, like a giggle. It's weird, but it's like this tower demolition simulator, and it's oddly playable even though it's in Japanese. You'll figure it out pretty quick, and the whole idea is you just basically plant bombs at buildings and try to figure out and then bring the thing down in a controlled demolition. It's such a simple concept, but it's oddly fun, and no one's ever really heard of it. So if you're looking for a Dreamcast import that you can play, that one, that's what I would say. Just as a weird oddball game. Bomber, hee. No problem.
How about the Mickey voice?
So a little backstory on that one. So on one of my channels, as I mentioned before, Game Society, we did this series called Disneyland Adventures, where more or less the premise is that my friend is stuck at Disneyland and I play various Disney characters to torture him in his experience. Two that I play very infamously is Stitch and Mickey Mouse. So give me a second. Hi everybody, welcome to Disneyland. Now spend money. So yeah. Anyone else? Go for it.
Do you have any games in the past that you kind of regretted or trading that didn't work selling?
Sort of. So I really don't get rid of stuff. It might be kind of obvious based on my videos, like I bring in tons of junk. But I think where the deep-seated problem with that was, I think when I was a kid at one point, I had Super Mario 64, and I sold it, and like the next day I regretted it, and ever since I was like, never, never again. And to this day, like I don't think I've ever traded anything in, because I'm just like, no, I would miss it, even though when I have it, I don't really care. Yeah, I think you would call that hoarding, debatably. There's a fine line there between collecting and hoarding. I'm trying to ride the collector's side, but eventually, you know.
In the spirit of your friend who logged all those hours in Shrek, what's the worst game you played the most of?
That's a good reference. First part of that is I did a video on the original Xbox talking about what it was like when it first came out, and one of the launch titles was Shrek, like the Shrek, and I picked that over Halo. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. And obviously the game was terrible, but I had a buddy who was utterly addicted to it, which was actually kind of made it fun. But after like, what did I say, like 10, 20 hours, like he played it all the time. And then after he was done with it, he got frustrated one part and he just yelled out, "This game is bullshit." And I was like, yeah, like it took you 20 hours of gameplay to figure that out. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
What's the worst game you put the most hours into?
I don't know, because I usually am just like, I just tune out if I hate the game. I don't usually stick around. I'm not going to put myself through ET or whatever just to do it. Maybe something like Disneyland Adventures. Anything on the Kinect really is just unplayable garbage. It usually boils down to, the only time I have to play stuff like that is really when I'm recording footage for Game Society, the Disneyland Adventures channel. So I've played some junk on there. Harry Potter Kinect. There you go. I had to put in a ton of hours into that game. It goes from like a little kid can do it to all of a sudden like you have to be like elite gamer to get through. You have to be like, you have to be at the gym every day to get through. Its difficulty level goes from like baby to like serious adult like in a flash. So that would probably be it because it just made me really angry. Cool. It happens.
So congratulations on 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, thank you. Took 9 years, but I did it, yeah. Was there a question to that? Oh, well, thank you. Well, I guess I could tell you a little story about that. So after that happened, Sega was like, hey, you want to do like a celebratory stream for 100,000 subscribers? Like, you know, they wanted to bring me out to London anyway for a thing, but they're like, you can host a stream at our studio. So I don't know if anyone in this room got to see it. Yeah, two of you, okay. So the problem with that stream was we did it, and then the audio quality wasn't very good, so I was kind of unhappy with that. But then afterwards, Sega was like, you should take it down now. I'm like, it's a live stream, it just stays there. They're like, no, we don't want that up, it's like a 24-hour thing. Yeah, it was like, because that's why it's not up there, in case you're curious, is that basically they requested, they're like, we only really wanted it for 24 hours. And I was like, that would have been good to know in advance, but oh well. So yeah, to the two of you who got to see it, thank you for that. Yeah, that was fun. And I was so jet lagged when I did that, because I had flown in that morning, hadn't slept in about a day, then I had to go through the whole day there, and then it's like, all right, you got to perform now. It's like, oh, good, can't wait. Anyone else? Ah, you remembered.
I do. Is there anything Dreamcast related you haven't done before?
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of accessories that at best I've like mentioned, like some of the stuff even in the most recent like Japan video, like I got that you know, the Resident Evil Dreamcast and stuff, like I haven't done an isolated video on that. There's various accessories like the official link cable and those things. It's just kind of like, it's a matter of time. And as you probably tell, I'm a little busy, but I'd love to make more of those videos eventually and get back around to it. There is a new one coming up soon on the Gecko, which is an HDMI box, like a cheaper one for the Dreamcast, which, spoilers, is pretty good. Yeah, I have a video coming out, what time is it? In 2 hours. I have a video coming out on this thing called the M cable. Which is, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's long story short, it's an HDMI cable that has anti-aliasing effects for game consoles, and I ran it with the Dreamcast, and it's pretty nice. It runs with a whole lot of stuff, but you can watch the video for more information. But running with the Dreamcast, it's very good. Anyone? Go for it.
Did you ever contact customs about the missing biohazard?
Well, that really was. So for those who don't know, which would, I went out to Japan back in April, and I found the Resident Evil, one of the Resident Evil Edition Dreamcast. There's only like 1,800 of them made. It was complete and really nice. I was so happy with it. At some point when I was flying through the U.S., because my route was very weird, I went from Osaka, Japan to Guam. Yes, I've been to Guam. Guam to Hawaii. Hawaii to Houston, Houston to Little Rock to Chicago. A lot of stops. But TSA checks your bag every time. And at some point in there, they opened the bag and they went through the security process and they opened up that Dreamcast and they took it out, they put it back, but they didn't put the controller back in it. So the controller's long gone. It could be anywhere, and they really don't have a good process for that because I'm sure the general thing is, I don't know what this is, throw it away. So the controller's long gone for that, which was depressing. But no, there's no, you're not going to do anything. They just include a little note saying, hey, we violated your bag. It's about all it is. Anyone? Go for it.
What videos do you have to do the most research for?
Do I research things? You know, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, tweeted, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'll just make it up. They'll believe it. No. No, it's usually the technical stuff, like when it comes to like capturing things, or specifically like the M cable is a perfect example of this. Like I had to contact them specifically to get some information, you know, read through websites, and then especially because that one I was having capturing issues, so I had to try and figure out why, which unfortunately I could not resolve. But it's usually that stuff. The stuff where I'm like, you know, picking up stuff, like I remember I was there, I can tell you the story, like I don't need to look into that. But usually it's the more technical things that I have to look into. Although I can't cite any particular video as like, damn, this took all day to research, but yeah. For the most part, yeah. Like sometimes I would double check like exactly what year it was, but beyond that it's just kind of, hey guys, here's the 2600 story, you know.
So since you're doing things off the cuff like that, do you often have to reshoot or?
I rarely reshoot anything. There are some times where I go through, I'm like, ooh, that was a mistake. And then sometimes I'll like cover it up, but you can always tell because the editing's terrible. You know, and I'll do a couple Band-Aid bits where I'm like, can't believe I forgot to mention that, and then I'll throw that in. But no, I really don't ever shoot like a whole video and then be like, nah, I'm gonna redo it. Like, it's just kind of, let's go. It's kind of my nature.
Do you have any info on the limited run Sega Saturn long box?
Didn't,
Well, VGC has some on Amazon, and the quality is hit and miss.
okay,
And Limited Run apparently bought, you know, I guess the exact mold, and
Yeah.
they're going to do their own version of it, and I just didn't know if I think it's been delayed, and
I have no particular insights into that, but for those who don't know, I mean, like you said, Sega CD/Saturn cases are getting kind of a reissue through limited run games. I want to support that. I want to get some, but no, I don't really know what's going on.
I don't know anything when they're coming.
No, I mean, Douglas he runs limited run games. He hasn't mentioned anything like that to me, so I don't know any of the backstory with that. And like I said earlier, Sega will kind of license whatever, so I don't even know if I don't know who owns the molds actually, now that I think about it, because PlayStation used those for a while, so I don't think Sega would own those. Cosmic Star Heroin? I know what you mean. It's just weird you speak and the first thing you talk about is drugs, man.
So they're gonna release that, or they're gonna release a case with that, then they're gonna start releasing the cases by themselves.
There you go.
But like in a pack of 10 or like a 5?
I think it's gonna be, different packs, like 1 or 10, yeah.
Next, anybody? Go for it. Ooh, like of all the oddball ones? Okay. That's kind of a tough call because most of the oddball ones are useless, but that's kind of why they're cool. Like the karaoke machine, the fact that that's even real. Like, I have a soft spot for stuff that doesn't make sense, and that's one of them. I mean, it made sense in Japan, but to us it's just kind of funny. Yeah, I might, that or that, it's not licensed, but there was this, this game called Dream Para Para. It's an independent sort of Dreamcast game that came out only in Hong Kong, and it came with its own controller, and it's just like a series of like little sensors, and you just play the game by putting your hands over it. And yeah, that might be it just because it's weird. Whereas like a regular controller is like, okay, it's a regular controller. So yeah, I think I might go with something like that because it's just kind of funny. Anyone else? Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them down there, I don't know. So for a long time, my goal was Neo Geo CD, which I've now successfully done, although I want to get more games for it. But as far as like just a whole nother console, maybe, you know, I still don't own a Virtual Boy. Granted, that doesn't necessarily count. I have games for it, but I don't own the console. But maybe something weird like the Bandai Pladia or FM Towns Marty, both of which are down there. You can actually go see them. Your brother, Bob's collection, he actually has them on display there. The FM Towns Marty is signed by Luke Morse 1. If anybody knows him. YouTuber, yeah. Oh yeah, cool. Well, right on. If I wish I had, I don't have enough space for it. That's the problem. It's like I had to bring all this stuff from London back, so it's like I just don't, luggage. Anyone else? Go for it.
What is the most frustrating game you've ever had to play?
Oh, definitely something like Disneyland Adventures or those Harry Potter things. Like you just get angry physically that it exists. Like who thought to do this to other people? Yeah, I'm gonna say Kinect anything really. Yeah, I don't like Kinect stuff. No, Star Wars Kinect. Because I had, for a video, I had to play through that whole stupid game just to unlock Vader because my buddy voices Darth Vader in it, and we were gonna make a video like of him making fun of the game, which was funny because he got a paycheck to be in it. But yeah, so I had to play it, and you can't do it unless you beat the whole game. So just sitting there dancing to the most irritating embarrassment thing that Star Wars ever did prior to newer stuff. But for a while there, it was the worst thing. Yeah, seeing Han Solo dance, you know, and I had to watch that whole thing and do it, and it was awful. So I'm gonna go with Star Wars Kinect, I think.
For somebody who's never played Shenmue,
Mm-hmm.
what are your favorite things about it? Why is it your favorite
I think what I love the most about it is the fact that you don't see it coming. And that's a weird thing to say, but like that game it's an open world game, and at first you kind of, especially now, we kind of think open world games is going to be bigger, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of action and intensity like your Grand Theft Autos or whatever. That game forces you to take time. It forces you to be patient. And if you give it that chance, it really kind of makes, like, all the minutia of the game, like stupid things, like you can pick up an orange. Why would you need to do that? Who cares? They did it anyway. And the fact that they did that really immerses you in the reality. So as you keep playing it, you get to a point where you're like, this dude's life, I'm playing his life, and I care about his life. And so when the story takes like an intense turn, you almost take it personally. No other game has ever done that to me, where I have like such an emotional attachment to everything that happens. And that's, of course, I mean, I know I'm not alone in that. By the end of the second game, there's a reason there's a psychotic fan base that came from it that was just like, we need a third one, because you felt almost like betrayed that that game didn't continue. So that's what I would say, is if you really give yourself the chance to play through it, you really will get attached to it. And that's the coolest thing about it.
So it's more so about the character development versus the gameplay?
Yeah, the gameplay, I mean, the gameplay was fun. It was more, you know, it was brand new at the time when it originally came out. Now we have open world games, so it's not so much the gameplay aspect to it, though I do enjoy that. But what really is the heaviest hitter of that game, in my personal opinion, is the story's ability to engross you if you really embrace it.
And then the open world design, I've heard that was a big influence on Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the first open world game, and everybody started taking notes from that because, I mean, you have to remember, when that game came out, its big competition was the N64 and the PS1. Like, nobody was doing that kind of stuff yet. They were eons ahead of everybody. And yeah, it basically opened the door for those kinds of things. And basically what they did is they created not the biggest world by far, but they created the most detailed one, the one that you could have the most immersion in, to the point where, you know, if you're late to the store, it's closed, and you have to wait and find out. Like, and that gives you such this like embraced sense of reality, like that, you know, you start to really buy into that universe in a way that, you know, like GTA is never going to do to you. You have to go to sleep at a certain time. Now, some of these things might sound boring, I get that, but that's the whole point, though. That's the genius of it. If you really embrace it, it will be a really intense experience, especially at the end of that second game, man. Next. Go for it. Say again, I'm sorry? Unfortunately, I haven't played it. Minecraft Story Mode is what she's saying. Anyone else play Minecraft Story Mode? Don't have anything else to say about that particular game because I haven't played it. Any other questions or anything? Go for it. In like the 2D sense? Well, my go-to on that, if you count it, I guess would be like Sonic Adventure, but I'm not sure that would necessarily count. I'm trying to think, because platformers kind of took a serious hit around that time. Because, like, you know, they stopped making your Banjo-Kazooies and all that kind of stuff for a little while there. So I can't, off the top of my head, think of any in particular. Anybody? Super Magnetic Neo? Is there any others? Rayman's good, but I mean, Rayman's on everything. But yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, it's kind of, when it comes to platformers, there's not a whole lot of options on there. There's more 2D ones now, like Alice Mom's Rescue. They still make new Dreamcast games every once in a while. Yeah, those are cool though.
How was it going through the Sega's headquarters? There's Sonic stuff everywhere.
So the Sega's lobby is just a giant Sonic statue and Sega logos everywhere. Big artwork. You get in there, it's just an office with a whole bunch of like cool stuff in it. And then you go like back doors, and then it's just cubicles. The whole front is meant to be the show part. There'll be footage of it in a video I do. Yeah, at some point there's gonna be footage in there. It's pretty cool. I was supposed to go to their studio in Japan. They're like, yeah, come on out. You can come to our studio. I'm like, all right, I'm here. They're like, no, you can't come in. I was like, so I never saw that one, but I've been to the European one. Yeah, sometimes when working with a Japanese company, they'll kind of be like, oh yeah, you can totally do that. I'm like, all right, I'm here to do that thing. Nah, go away. Okay. Like, so yeah, but yeah, it was definitely cool. Oh man, probably. I mean, okay, all right. This is a Shenmue reference. It has to be. So in the game, when you go into a convenience store and you buy something, they'll hand you this like box and say like pick a card and you can win a prize. It's a big mechanic of that game. First time I was in Japan, first convenience store I ever went into, that happened. And I was like, awesome. And I won like a bottle of orange water. It was good. But that has never happened since. And I was like, that was cool that just kind of happened my literal first time. And then after that, you just start getting into all like, oh, look, it's a video game store and a toy store and then the adult store next to it. Like they so casually throw in the hentai, man. So casually. So it does throw you off.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
I've been several times in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I love to go do that, but Lawson's or 7-Eleven?
Oh, 7-Eleven all the way. You know what? Lawson's is fine. I'll take Family Mart over Lawson's though. So convenience stores are a huge deal in Japan. They're the best thing ever. They're way better than ours. And if you ever go in there, like they just have so much cool stuff. Like all meals are like $3, and they're surprisingly good. But yeah, they're weird too. Like if you're staying somewhere in a hotel or whatever, and you find something online you want, you can ship it to the convenience store, and they'll just let you pick it up. Like they're way different. They're really cool. But yeah, I'll go 7-Eleven, man. I found a 7-Eleven that was like the size of a Walmart. It was really weird. It was multiple floors. I'm like, that's a lot of cans of soda. Like, what else are you selling in there? But no, they sell a lot of stuff. Anyone else?
I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but have you been to a Sega
Oh, Joyopolis? Yeah, they're. Yeah, I went to a couple in Osaka and in Tokyo and down in Akihabara. They're cool. Like, people don't know this necessarily about Sega. Sega, we think of them as like the video game company that made the Genesis and whatever. That's like 10% of their current business model. What they do, they're like Disney over there. Like they have hotel chains. Like but not with their name on it. They just do a whole bunch of stuff. And what she's talking about is they have whole buildings where you just go in and like they sell toys. That's all it is. Like giant capsule machines, and you win. I'm not talking about like little junk ones that we've got. I mean like big machines where you win like giant figures. And it's actually really easy to win one, which is even weirder. So people walk out of there constantly with stuff. And then they'll have like arcade cabinets and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, but I've been to a couple, but yeah, they are pretty cool. Go for it. Oh yeah, check out my video. like,
How about more so, how is the experience about going in there and checking things out there, actually really good?
so you just want a general sense of what it's like to go in there, or like a specific pickup? Okay, so in general, for those who don't know, book off and hard off is always what I tell people. You go to Japan, that's where you go for video games. Don't go to Akihabara thinking like, I'll go to Super Potato. Like, that's where noobs go. Like, you go in there to see all the spectacle, but everything's eBay prices. You go out, just like take a couple of trains, which their train system is amazing. You go out just a couple of trains, you'll find a hard off, you find a book off. They're bookstores and hardware stores full of video games, and they're worthless. No, they're not charging like anything for them. And I found so many cool things in there. And it can really mess with your head, man. Like you go in, you see like a sea of Super Famicoms for like $2 each, and you're like, I don't know how to react to this. And especially if you go to those, they have junk sections, what they call junk. Their definition, very different than ours. Our definition is like, it's literally broken. Their definition is like, there's a chip on it, or it's missing the video cables, consider it broken. It's like, no. I mean, I picked up a Neo Geo CD front loader, through that, $18, because it didn't have the cord. It's like, are you kidding? And I got it back, and it worked perfectly, nothing wrong with it. Yeah, like, it was just, it didn't have the standard composite cables that anyone could buy and plug into it. So yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think my best pickup ever though, is I was in a book off and I saw a white GameCube. Didn't know anything about it, I looked it up, and it was the equivalent of about like $28. Bought it, turns out it's a Final Fantasy edition, Crystal Chronicles edition GameCube, 150 ever made, only sold through like a contest. It's just sitting there. So I bought it, get it back. Turns out, like even loose, it's like a $2,000 console. And I was like, boom, paid for the trip. Although I didn't have to pay for it anyway. But I would have. But that was probably from a financial standpoint, best score ever. Yeah.
Is there any struggle, since you're there, I'm assuming you don't speak the language, struggle with doing what you want, eating?
I've learned enough phrases most commonly to buy stuff, because that's the most useful thing for me. You get as long as you do like some of the real basics, like good morning, goodbye, thank you, and sometimes the only thing you ever really struggle with is if they try to get through specifics. So here's the big thing: if you want to go to Japan and you want to buy stuff, you have to remember they're kind of cash based. I hate cash, especially foreign currencies, because I don't need it after the fact. So I try to do everything in credit cards. But in Japan, credit cards are relatively new as a concept. And when I mean like 2 years ago is when they started doing it. They're really behind the times on that. Multiple incidents. I was the first person they had ever had who used a credit card. Like, I was with a buddy who spoke Japanese, and they were telling him, like, just give me a minute, I've literally never used a credit card before. So they don't, it's odd for them. So what they will sometimes do, because they're unfamiliar with like the minutia of using a credit card, they'll ask you things like, do you want to pay in installments? And when I mean like, you go to Best Buy and they're like, it's a $1,000 TV, do you want to pay in installments? Okay, that's one thing. They'll ask you, they literally asked me that if I was like, I'm going to buy a bottle of water. They're like, do you want to pay in installments? I'm like, it's a bottle of water. I don't need to pay that off for a year. You know, it's $1. But so what they'll do is they'll, of course, ask you that in Japanese. And you have to listen for that because they're going to, if you're trying to pay and then they ask you a question and then there's just kind of that stare. Jake, how unprofessional. It's okay. Yeah, no, they'll ask you, they'll say, you have to listen for the word credito. That's always important because it's an English word. And they'll pause. And what you want to say is ichi, which just means one, as in one transaction. If otherwise, they're just going to stare at you and you're not going to know what the hell to do. So that was the most awkward thing. But other than that, it's pretty basic. And just learn a couple of phrases that'll help you get through situations. But I really never had a problem. And they have, especially in like Osaka or Tokyo, like everything's dual language in Japanese and English. And we live in the Google era, so really anything you're not, just check it on your phone. But yeah, I never had a problem with that. They always appreciate it if you at least try a little though.
So since you're a big fan of Shenmue, what do you think about the Yakuza series?
I really like it. It's obviously very different. I think the reason people commonly put it together is it's made by a very similar team. Obviously Sega does it and has certain mechanics in it. But I think that Yakuza was, while very solid, was more of what I think, from a business standpoint, is an easier thing to pitch. Because it's like, it's more action-oriented. But it doesn't engross you the way Shenmue will, because it's not about its story. It's just kind of a fun game. But it's
more like the gameplay. Yeah.
Exactly. But I like it. I like it a lot. The one I played the most was Yakuza 0. That's a fun game.
So, and back to the book off and hard.
Yeah.
What's the translation? Because just saying those words almost makes you giggle. You're hard
Oh yeah. Well, trust me, my comment sections are filled with that. Because they have a whole series of chains. It's like, oh yeah, it's book off, mode off, heart off, liquor off. You know, like all these things. Like, it gave me a heart off, all right. I'm like, I got it. Like, how many times do I have to hear this joke? Yeah, it is based on English, but obviously loosely. So hard off is short for hardware. Book off is just books, you know, and so on. Ask Japan. You know, I don't know. It's one of those things that they just probably just translated literally, and it didn't quite work. That's the best thing. I mean, in Japan, having English content is oddly popular, but it doesn't always work out right. So you, maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe hardware offer. Who knows? I don't know. It's actually a chain that's starting to show up here now. They have a couple in New York. They've got a couple in Hawaii. They've got a couple in California. There's one in Paris now. It's spreading out. Anyone else? Justin. Okay, well, you go next.
Are you going to release any more of your short films ever?
Maybe. So I used to do a lot of short films in college, and that was actually originally why I started making YouTube videos, was because I was just producing film content, and I basically wanted a place to put it. But then nobody was really watching it, so I was like, what else do I know? I know video games. But there's a whole bunch I never released. You know, like a bunch of things I did in college. Actually, funny thing, one of them is a short film called Henchman. You can check it out on my IMDb if you want. It's got John Turk in it. John Turk is the other guy who played Sub-Zero, as opposed to the guys down there. So he makes a nice little fun cameo in there. But like, there's some cool stuff up there. But like, I kind of feel like that was 10 years ago, and nobody's going to want to watch that. Especially, it's like, I think I tried that once, and I just kept getting, where's the Dreamcast? I'm like, great, okay. So you have an audience, and it makes sense. It's just they don't always necessarily want to see everything you do. So maybe at some point. I don't know. Anyone else? Oh, yeah, right, sorry.
Besides listening to the Resident Evil controller, do you have any other problems with customs?
No. American Customs is surprisingly easy. So I'm in global entry, which if you ever travel, get that, because you'll get through customs in about 8 seconds, and you're on all the good boy lists, so they really don't check you much, which is very convenient. You get TSA pre-check and all that fun stuff. Now, the funny thing when it comes to specifically what you're talking about, though, is when you go into countries, they'll often be like, you know, did you exceed buying $800 of, or whatever, they'll have like certain rules, and then they're supposed to tax you. The states have the same rule, but they openly tell you not to be honest about it. Like I remember going up to Canada once and then coming back, and the dude's like, how much did you spend on all your things? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, keep in mind, if you say over 800, I have to bill you, so don't say over 800. And I was like, okay, I didn't spend 800, welcome home. Like they really don't want to fill out that paperwork. So just, like even when you have global entry, you don't even fill out one of those forms. You just walk through. That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, well, yeah, no, I wouldn't advise that. But yeah, when it's come to customs, other than, as you point out, the Resident Evil controller tragedy, no, I haven't had anything where they were like, hey, man, you can't have this, or hey, you have to pay a fee on this. Like, the States doesn't really do that. Other countries do that a lot, but not us. So, yeah, the closest I came to that, like I said, with the Canada one, that was the one time I was up there for a month, okay? And if anybody watches my channel regularly, you might remember a store called Toy Rat. There's a whole bunch of great Canadian stores, and they love me, so they kept giving me stuff. So when I'd driven up there, I came back, my car was full. I mean full. Like we got to the point there's a Vectrex on the front seat because there's nowhere else to put it. Like the car is full, and I'm like, this guy is totally going to stop me, and he's never going to believe like that I didn't spend 800. I didn't, because a lot of it was donated, but it was like, this dude will never believe that. And that's when he said, like, did you spend more than 800? Because if you did, I have to charge you. No, I didn't. Okay, welcome home. So as long as you just say, they really just, I'm telling you, man, they just don't care. They just don't want to do that paperwork. That's it. Anybody else? No? Go for it, Justin.
With as much stuff as you get, how's it storing in your place?
A lot of towers. A lot of towers with stuff on them. A lot of hutches filled with things. Originally, at one time, it was like, oh, it'll be nicely displayed. Now it's like, where does it fit? And that's kind of the point it's gotten to. But I try to keep it nice, but there's sometimes you just have to stack stuff. You'll go for it.
Two different questions.
Shoot.
Jumping back a little bit for the book off.
Mm-hmm.
If you had been in there, did they actually have like English content?
What, like just American movies?
Sure.
But like the American versions, or like Japanese versions of American movies? They rarely will have what they would consider to be imports, because I guess, yes, that would be imports to them. They don't really have that stuff. Japan's very much like, get your stuff away from us. But yeah, it's mostly just Japanese content. Sometimes there's the occasional oddball that somehow gets in there, and you would, trust me, you'd never want to buy American stuff over there. The few times I've ever seen like again, their import sections, prices are laughably bad. Like we're talking like, $30 for like ESPN NFL 2K14 or whatever, or 2K4. Like, like we're talking like stuff that's really, because to them it's exciting because it's import. But no, you wouldn't ever want to do that. But even then, you rarely ever see it.
Okay. So then the second question.
Shoot.
For the Dreamcast in particular, what is your favorite or preferred scaling solution?
So as I mentioned before, I have this video coming out on this thing called the Gecko, and I mentioned the M cable. Combine those two, congratulations, you just won the internet. Those two are, yeah, that combination therein is amazing. Because the M cable will give you the anti-aliasing benefits, which the Dreamcast has never looked better with it. And then the Gecko is small, compact, easy to use, plug in, definitely the way to go. And the Gecko is nice because it's much cheaper than the older one. It's $55, which beats the $85 price tag. Personally, they stripped out a lot of features I thought were pointless, so that made it nice, smaller, and looks really, really good. Anyone?
So it's comparable to the Yakura then?
It's identical, just smaller. It's literally made by the same guys.
So just stripped down cheaper?
Yeah, stripped down cheaper version, and it's solid. It's better than that pound one that's out now. A lot of people are buying that one because it's cheap. Don't buy that one. it's got noise in the video signal. It looks noticeably worse. But yeah, you combine that thing with the M cable, and you've never seen the Dreamcast look better. How are we doing on time, Jake? Okay, because I want to do this little contest thing, but I want to make sure that we have time for it. It's not going to take that long. Okay, when are we officially?
Yeah, about 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Like, I'm not in a rush. I just want to make sure we have time so you guys can potentially win stuff. Very exciting prizes. Anybody else? Questions? Anyone? Go for it, Justin.
Do you have a video you're most proud of?
Back to the Future 4. For those who don't know, I have edited several video game to movie adaptations. I took Jurassic Park, the game, turned it into what I consider to be a very cohesive movie. Same with Back to the Future, the game, both by Telltale. Turned that into Back to the Future 4 and 5. The reason I'm really proud of 4 is because it was good enough that I got onto the official Back to the Future podcast to talk about it. And people really liked that one. And the guy even stole them and started pirating them and selling Blu-rays of them. So I was like, that's kind of a mark of success. That's nice. So yeah, so there's that. I haven't made a dime off it, but like that guy, good for him. So yeah, I like, that's probably the one because the editing of that was like the worst thing in the world. Because you're not supposed to take video games and turn them into movies. They don't really work. So that was me kind of combining film school knowledge with video game knowledge and like merge. And I really think that the problem with like video game movies, like real ones, is that there's very rarely people who get both. Because most video games, like you break it down, like for real, most stuff is we gotta get to the point to do the thing, to get the thing, to move around. So they don't really make as exciting of a story as you think. Like even if you take something like Metal Gear Solid, you think, oh, that game is a really good story. A lot of Metal Gear Solid is like walking to one side of the place and then moving back. And so you can't have any of that in like an interesting story. But Telltale, I give them that because they're basically making interactive cinema, which is the only reason it works.
Have you done a game room tour that I'm not aware of?
No. My thing with that is that'll be my last video. Whenever I tune out, I'm like, I'm going out. I'm going to go out with a bang. But also, my problem with that is that, well, I'm not done. Like, I'm still getting stuff. So then you have this like big video, and it's like, well, guys, wait, I got this. And it's like, we don't care anymore. You save that one for last.
I think everybody just kind of wants to see where you do. It's almost like the bedroom of, this is where the magic happens. Like,
Exactly. But that gives it event level status, which is why you want to save it for last. Whereas if you do it in the middle, it's kind of like, who cares anymore? I'm just afraid of that. Because I've seen some channels that would do that, and then it was like, all right, bye, we don't want to watch you anymore. So like, there's a little bit of paranoia in that. But honestly, the reason is simply that I'm not done getting stuff. And to me, it would always bug me, like the OCD part of me would be like, but like I did a Dreamcast one, and it bugs the hell out of me that I bought stuff after it, but I still did the video anyway. So that's kind of where that comes from. It looks like we're almost done, it sounds like. I see people lining up for the next one. So let's do our little contest here. Now, so here's the thing. You guys have been asking me questions, appreciate it. It's my turn to ask you guys some questions. Okay, there's 4 potential prizes up here. Very, very exciting prizes. Questions are very hard though, so I don't blame you if you don't want to try it. The prizes include, we've got 3 napkins from the flight down here. We've got a bar of soap sealed from the hotel in Bristol that I was in yesterday. We have a Stroop waffle, very good. And donated by Sega, we have an Xbox One copy of Sonic Mania. What do you know? One that doesn't suck. So here's the thing. The way this is going to work, 4 volunteers, because 4 questions. And if you get the question right, afterwards, I will ask you up to pick a number between 1 through 4. And depending on what answer you give, you will win one of these prizes. Does anybody want to step up to the plate? You do, okay. Before we do that though, I would like everybody to take a look over here at Jake. Jake is one of the guys running the Missouri Game Con. Can we give him a round of applause? Thank you, Jake, for all your hard work. So the first question up is, what is Jake's name?
Jake Friedel.
You're correct, you won. What 1 through 4, pick a number. 3. Okay, I know your prize. We'll get back to you. Who wants to do the second one? All right. Second question is, how many coffees do you think I've had today? Sounds about right. Let's go with that. Congratulations, you won. What prize number? He picked 3, so you can only pick 1, 2, or 4. 2. Okay. All right. I know your prize. Go for it. No, you're ready? You want to do it? I forgot how this works, I'm sorry. All right, so like I said, I got back from Europe yesterday morning for a Sega thing. Where is Europe? Hey, what do you know? You won. What's your number? I think you have the choice between 1 or 4. 4. Okay, 4. And final question here is, this is the 3rd year of the Missouri Game Con. I've been here every single year. How many times have I been here? Congratulations! By default, I believe it's number 4, right? Okay, so who picked number 4? It was you. Number 4. Congratulations. No, you had 4. You had 4. What did you have? You would be 1. Okay. Number 4 wins the Stroopwafel. Come on up and get your Stroopwafel. This thing's really good. You just put it on top of a cup of tea or coffee. It's really good. I really like it. Yeah, no problem. Who had number 3? You had number 3, right? You had 3. Why can't I remember that? Come on up. You won 3 napkins. It was in the clue. I mean, come on. 3 napkins. Enjoy. On behalf of United Airlines. Who had 2? 2. Come on up. You won a bar of soap from the United Kingdom. Enjoy. And to number 1, you won a copy of Sonic Mania Compliments of Sega. Enjoy. Well, that is it, everybody. Thank you very much for coming out to the panel and to the Missouri Game Con. It's been awesome. Can we give a round of applause to Missouri Game Con for hosting this? You guys are the best. Go have fun. And if you want anything like signatures or photos, feel free at any time come up. I'm more than happy to do it, either here or down there, whatever. All the guests are super friendly. I know Metal Jesus Rocks is much cooler than me. You can go hang out with him. But he'll sign it too. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good one.